Alright guys, so this is the chapter 8 lesson 6 video. We will still have the same file open that we used in lesson 5. So you're just going to make sure you go to page 1. So navigate to page 1. And you're going to get your selection tool and you're going to click on the large image. The next thing we're going to Objects, Effects, and then Enter Shadow. Object, Effects, Enter Shadow. And we're going to have this dialog box pop open. We're going to enter some settings here. So if you guys just put in what I put in, and then you'll press OK after you get done that. Okay. So we're on Enter Shadow. We want to make sure that it says multiply, 75% opacity. We want to put our distance to 0.1 inch, 0.1 inch, and then our angle at 135. Our X offset as 0.0707, and our Y offset should be the same exact thing. We're going to do our options in the size 0.1. We're going to have noise as 0 and the choke as 0. And then you're going to push OK. So you see that did add a little bit of a shadow to that. Alright. The next step we're going to do is, with the large frame still selected, we're going to open up the effects panel and click on the function bottom button at the top of the panel. So if you don't see effects over here, you can always go to window and go to effects and open up that panel. Okay, so right here, so we're going to click the function button at the bottom of the panel, so right here. And then we're going to select the 5, okay. Okay, so you can see that that's been applied. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select these 5 images down here. 5 small images, and then we're going to set the stroke color to none. Stroke to none. And then we're going to click the large image, large image, and we're going to drag the FX icon, okay, from the highlighted object line, okay, so from right there, so right here, and we're going to drag that to the leftmost small frame as illustrated. So you're going to just click and drag, okay, and then you're going to do the same thing to the other 4. So we're just dragging and popping this same inner shadow onto all these images right here. Alright, so just save right here. So file, save. Let me see what this is supposed to be originally called, because I think I forgot to save it as something. It's supposed to be saved as Advanced Techniques. So you probably already have yours saved as that, and I'm just crazy. Oh, I've restarted it, that's why. Okay. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a bevel, and embossed, and a drop shadow effect. So we're going to get our selection tool, which I have active, and we're going to click the Quinigula text frame. So this text frame right here. We're going to click Object, Effects, and Bevel, and Emboss. And then we're going to enter the settings that I'm going to enter over here. So just make sure you enter just like I do. Okay, so we're going to have enter bevel. It's going to be 0.375 as the size. We're going to do a chisel hard. The soften should be at 0, direction up, 100% depth, 120-degree angle, 30% altitude, excuse me. We're going to have screen, white, multiply, black. Opacity should be at 100, and your opacity here should be at 100. Alright, so once you have those things selected, you're going to click OK, and you'll see the difference that it has made there. Alright. Oops, you're not supposed to push OK yet. So let me go back and fix that. Don't push OK. Okay. Alright, so alright guys, so apparently I was crazy and skipped a page that I should have on here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click the words drop shadow over here on the side. So you click on drop shadow, and then we're going to enter some new settings in for drop shadow. Make sure it says multiply 75%. The distance should be 0.03. Your degree should be 135. Your offset should be 0.0212. 0.0212 right here. Options, we want to do our size as 0.03. 11% spread, and 0% noise. Alright, so sorry about the second where I didn't know what was going on. Apparently, I just gotta get my life together. Okay, at this point, you're going to click OK. And that should be kind of what your screen looks like at this point. Alright, so we're going to save here. So File, Save. Alright, and then we are going to continue. So we're going to create an object. Okay, my current class needs to be quiet. So we're going to verify that this text frame is still selected. We're going to go to Window, Styles, and Object Styles. So Window, Styles, Object Styles. Okay. Now that we have this open, we're going to click New Object Style. I'll wait till this announcement is over. Alright, so we're going to type bevel and shadow in the style name text box. Bevel and shadow in the style name text box. And then in the note in the lower left hand corner that the bevel and emboss. Note in the lower left section, the bevel and emboss drop effects are checked. So bevel and emboss drop effects are checked, so those are. Okay, uncheck all of the attributes in the basic attributes section. So I'm going to uncheck all of this stuff right here. Okay, so I'm unchecking all that. You're going to need to scroll down to make sure you uncheck all this other stuff too. So nothing should be checked in this one little section right here. Alright, so this is kind of what it should look like at this point. Yep. Okay, so let me find my next little page here. Okay, so now we're going to click OK. And so now that should be listed on the Option Styles panel, so you should see that's right there. We use the selection tool to select the white triangle to the left. Okay, so the white triangle to the left of the small images. So I'm going to click this little guy. Okay, and then I'm going to click the bevel and shadow and add that to it. Apply the bevel and shadow object style to the other triangle and then there. Alright, so that's about what we should look like at this point. Alright. Whenever you look big. So the Cornigula is going to look a little bit weird when you're not looking at it in preview mode because of the font thing, but that's what it actually looks like, okay? Alright, so we did that to the other triangle. We've applied that to 2 other headlines and 4 other triangles in the layout. So we need to apply that to those, and then I'll go back and do the headlines in a second. Alright. Okay, something really dramatic just happened outside, so there's that. Okay, we want to apply the bevel and shadow object style, so we're going to go to our object styles, bevel and shadow. Okay, we're doing that to these guys as well, so we're going to click Friends, bevel and shadow, Manarola, bevel and shadow. There we go. So when we look at this and we go through, it should be pretty consistent as what it looks like. Alright, so we're going to save here. So file save. Alright, so we're going to remove an object style from an object. We're going to go to Manarola and we are going to select this. We are going to click the function or note the function button on the effects panel. So you might need to open up your effects panel again. Or at least I do. Alright. So note the function in the highlighted object line. Okay, so if I drag that little button to the little trash can, it's going to get rid of it. So I'm just going to drag it down like that. And you see it goes back to normal. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to save. Nope, ignore that. File. Save. And it does have you save a lot in this file, but it's just because you're doing a lot of steps. So that's why. Okay, we're going to apply feathering effects. We're going to go up here to page 1. We're going to click our oval. We're going to go to Object, Effects, and Feather. Basic feather. And then you're going to enter these same settings and then press OK. So feather width is going to be 0.25. The choke is 0. Diffused in 0. Okay, so that's what you're going to put right there. And then we're going to do basic feather. OK. And we see what goes on there. Okay, now we're going to go to File on the menu bar and Place or Command D. And then we're going to choose the file Girls. Command D. I'm going to go to wherever our picture is and click on the Girls one. Is it in the photography? Yep, it's in the photography folder, guys. So just kind of keep that in mind. Click Girls and say Open. Alright. Fit the image that your frame resembles. So I'm going to go to Object, Fitting, Content to Frame. Nope. Object, Fitting proportionally. Nope. Object, Fitting. Actually, I'm going to undo. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to come over here with my direct selection tool, with my selection tool. Let's see. Let me find Girls. And I'm going to move. Oop. I want them to show. Come on. It's going to find me. Just do Object, Fitting, and Content to Frame. It's going to look a little awkward, but it'll be alright. Okay, so once you do that, we're going to go to page 2. And you might want to zoom back out if you zoomed in like I did. We're going to go to page 2. And we are going to click the large image on the page. We're going to click the Gradient Feather tool. Alright, so we're going to go to page 2. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I had to pause for a little bit. And we're going to click the large image. We're going to go to the Gradient Feather tool, which is right here. And we're going to click on that. The Gradient Feather tool is a freehand effect tool. Blah, 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 blah. So we're going to position the tool over the green shutter in the image. And then click and drag to the left edge of the image. And release the mouse button and deselect. So we're going to just kind of do like that. Okay. As you can see, it kind of fades out. Maybe I'm going to do like this so it looks not as aggressive. Okay. It gradually fades away. Now we're going to go to page 1. We're going to get our selection tool, select the large image, and go to Object, Effects, Object, Effects, and go to Directional Feather here. And then we're going to set the bottom text box to 1%. And I'm actually going to pause right here and we'll pick this up in the next video.